They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling and trying to catch me riding 30. 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 Trying to catch me riding 30.
CarMax 30-day money-back guarantee. That's car buying reimagined. Only from CarMax. Up to 1,500 miles. See CarMax.com for details.
Riding 30. Trying to catch me riding 30.
Dub Nation knows good things come in threes, whether it's a game-winning three-pointer or all the games, glitz, and great entertainment you can enjoy at Northern California's premier casino resort. Cache Creek is the place to play a hot hand on our world-class gaming floor, indulge at our luxurious spa, or catch a live performance from your favorite acts. It's all here, just a short drive away. This is your time to cash in at Cache Creek Casino Resort, official sponsor of your Golden State Warriors.
1 minute, your team's down 20 points. The next, they're hitting a game-winning three at the buzzer and the crowd's going nuts. Basketball games can change in an instant. So can your plans. That's why at United, there are no change fees on flights. Because while we love a change of plans in the Warriors' favor, we don't think anyone should get charged fees for changing theirs. No change fees, ever. United, the official airline of the Golden State Warriors. Does not include basic economy unless a United waiver applies. Exceptions apply for certain international flights.
I know a lot of you really want the State Farm personal price plan, but what's with the oversharing? Like this message from Sarah.
Hi, Jake from State Farm. I eat hard-boiled eggs, like shell and all. The crunch is exquisite.
You don't need to get that personal. The State Farm personal price plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Everyone circle up. I know it looks rough out there. Sure, we're down 119 to 64, but we came here to play differently. We need a game changer. Something like Ring Central, the business phone system that's more than a phone. I want you to communicate like you can talk to anyone, anywhere, all from the same app. Now get out there and play like you're using Ring Central.
Ring Central. Simpler communications.
You've been listening to the Golden State Warriors Audio Network. Presented by United Airlines.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey Sports. For even more coverage of your team, download the free Odyssey app and listen to your favorite stations, shows, and podcasts.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
That's a wrap.
Yo, that's a wrap. It was an amazing experience. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope they got some laughs, some good entertainment.
This is Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Curry takes the inbounds. Mouth guard askew, as always. Brings it across the midcourt stripe. Behind the back with the dribble. Crossover, step back. Three ball right side. Front rim. Gets the shooter's roll. And drops in. He starts doing high knees in the backcourt saying, yeah, that's my rim. 78-71. Warriors down by 7.
That's how hot he is.
Yeah, Stephen Curry trying to bring the Warriors back after they had fallen behind by 25 in the first half. Down 20 at the break. Steph Curry with 27 of his 38 points in the first half tonight. The Warriors still found themselves down 74-54 at the break. They go on to lose 125-119 to the Pacers as we welcome you inside Warriors wrap up here tonight on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you for the next hour. 888-957-9570. The story of this one, though, and we can get into what was just an ugly first half after the Warriors had a 9-point lead at 20-11 early, but the story of this one now and moving forward is the status of Steph Curry, who reached in for a steal late in the third quarter and appears to do something to his left shoulder, immediately grabbing at it, and he went to the locker room at that point. And we will hear the full Steve Kerr press conference coming up here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. But Curry did not return from that moment on. And so the Warriors, we will relay what Steve Kerr did have to say in the postgame, which was just that Steph's getting an MRI tomorrow. He did say that he checked in with Steph Curry briefly, said Curry in good spirit. He was ruled out, not going to return in this one due to a left shoulder injury. And so now we wait for the MRI tomorrow as he did not return to the game. The Warriors fought at the moment in which he left the game. They were down by 13, which they had cut a 25-point lead all the way down to 3. It had gotten pushed back up to 13 at 93-80 when Curry went out, as that was 2:04 to go. He didn't come back. Warriors actually outscored the Pacers by 7 for the rest of the night and gave themselves a fighting chance in the final minutes, although Indiana winds up prevailing in this one, 125-119. So 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text here on Warriors Wrap Up. The Xfinity mobile text line is open again. The latest on Steph Curry is really not much news other than left shoulder injury. To the game, obviously, as everybody who watched or listened to it knows by now, and he is set to get an MRI tomorrow. And so expect the results on the off day as we wait, as the Warriors will go from Indiana to Philly and play the Sixers on Friday. And looks like potentially the Warriors are going to be without Steph Curry now for some amount of time. Now, I can hope for the best. I think the best at this point would be some kind of tweak or sprain. And I think that would be a situation where you would hope, if you're Steph Curry, that if you're hoping it's a couple of games at this point. I think you would take that if you're the Warriors and move forward from there, and really hope that you get them back. It's a couple games, you withstand it, and this is part of what we had talked about here in the early going of the season for the Warriors, which is the fact that you want to make sure that you build a little bit of a cushion separating for 500 to where you can withstand an injury and not have it kill your season to a point where you fall back to where the Warriors were at 4 games under 500. And that was the danger zone that the Warriors found themselves in by getting off to the bad start and not being able to win a road game, as they dip now even farther into the hole on the road at 2-13. And so it really is problematic. And the Warriors had righted the ship a little bit. They had gotten themselves to 2 games over 500, but they had done it by being one of the healthier teams in the NBA, to the point in which they lost Andrew Wiggins for these last couple of games. And now you start to add some more injuries to the equation and potentially being without Steph Curry. And that's something that really is concerning for the Warriors moving forward here, and it's the type of thing that can set your season off course a little bit. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. So again, we'll hold our breath. We'll wait for tomorrow. We'll find out what happens as far as the injury news and all of that as far as Steph Curry goes. But the Warriors, I've said it a lot, are in a vulnerable position right now, dipping to 14-15. Even if it's, hey, Steph Curry can't play for a week and a half until the Warriors return home. Well, you tell me who the Warriors are going to beat right now with the way that they've played of late without Steph Curry. And tonight was another example of, hey, he had 27 in the first half. Sounded like at halftime there was maybe a speech given or guys getting on each other, because they had a completely different disposition in the second half than they did at the end of the first half after they initially had built that lead. But now, you still got to play 4 games of this trip. You still got to play against some really good teams. And if you do wind up unable to win a game because now you don't have Steph Curry and who knows when Andrew Wiggins is coming back, it just means you're going to have to play that much better once you get everybody in the back half of the season to earn yourself an opportunity to be, in the playoffs, and hopefully, I think for the Warriors' sake, they'd tell you out of that play-in tournament and into the top 6 and hopefully into the top 4. But that gets more and more difficult to accomplish the further you get away from 500. And I think really the worst possible scenario for the Warriors would be to not be a 500 team, as they currently are not, 14-15, and now to lose multiple starting players. So 888-957-9570. Let's go to Michelle in Concord to get us tipped off here tonight on 95.7 The Game. Hi, Michelle.
I've been watching the Warriors for many years, and they just seem off now. I think it's too much to ask for Steph with Wiggins out, and then Clay not playing back-to-backs, and then Draymond. He should have known better not to get thrown out, even though he wasn't playing well. That just makes the team that much more limited. Something just isn't right, and if Curry needs to come home and they have to play the rest of the road trip with the young guys, and Wiggins is out, I think they should do that. There's just something off. Thank you.
Yeah, no, appreciate the call. And look, tonight, what was off tonight was the fact that they didn't have Wiggins, and it was the second of a back-to-back, and you didn't have Klay Thompson. And so you decide, because the guard play of the Pacers had hurt you in the first game going back 9 nights ago, that you're going to start Dante DiVincenzo with Steph Curry and Jordan Poole. I thought that was a nice move by Steve Kerr. DiVincenzo into the starting lineup, and he put some ball pressure on Halliburton. Nembhard really hurt the Warriors in the game at Chase going back a week and a half ago, and some of the length had bothered Indiana. So they basically play 3 guards, and really even 3.5 when you look at Nesmith. But Halliburton and Nembhard and Buddy Hield are 3 guards. So they start 3 guards. So why don't you, if you're the Warriors with Klay Thompson out, go to the 3 guard? And I think that actually worked. The Warriors got off to a 20-11 lead in this one, but following the 20-11 lead, the Warriors were just hitting the mouth. I mean, they were up 9, and then they wound up down 25 with the quickness. It was 55-24 after the Warriors were up 20-11, and tonight was one of those nights where, hey, the starting lineup worked in that first quarter, in those first 6 to 8 minutes, but at the end of the quarter, it was the second consecutive game where it was Steph Curry along with 4 bench players, and that completely flipped the game to the point where the Warriors never got it back until the beginning of the third quarter. That lineup was Steph, JaMychal Green, Anthony Lamb was out there with Ty Jerome and Jonathan Kuminga, and that is the cost of, well, DiVincenzo, one of your better bench players, now goes into the starting lineup with one of your better bench players in Jordan Poole, who already was in the starting lineup. So now you need players that haven't been playing as much to step in and fill some of the bench gaps. And Kerr went with Curry and the 4 bench players and deeper bench players than even last night with more guys out and Clay not being available. And now all of a sudden, that group just completely got wrecked, and it flipped the game to where the Warriors ended up giving up 47 points. It was a snowball effect, right? It was the Warriors out to that lead, and then they were down 8 by the time Curry was back in the game. And then at that point, the Pacers just throttled them up to 71-46, which was their biggest lead of the game. And at that point, it was just all on Curry to try and keep the Warriors to within where maybe they could make a run in the second half that would allow them an opportunity at a run down the stretch to try and win it. And it looked like that was happening with Curry going off, and then Curry ends up with the injury. And it's one of those where you tip your cap to the Warriors once, well, at least the Warriors not named Draymond Green, once Steph Curry went out, because they were able to fight, and that was even with Draymond Green getting ejected, which I got to tell you, is that not predictable and unfortunate? the fact that Draymond Green would get himself ejected from a game in the moments following Steph Curry going out with what looked, at least at the time, like an injury that was going to keep him out the rest of the night. No further update to this point. You don't want to speculate on that kind of thing, but I think we had a good feeling, hey, that was probably going to be a bad enough injury to where Steph was not going to come back and play in tonight's game. And it was almost as if Draymond, and we've seen this before in games where Curry is out, it was almost as if Draymond said, yeah, you know what, to hell with it. I'm going to get on a rager. My fuse is going to be a little bit shorter than normal, and I'm going to head to the locker room. Essentially, hey, no Steph, and why should I be? For who? For what? Why should I be out there? And so that's the one thing I will say and kind of come down Draymond's road a little bit that I think is a bad look, and it's a bad look only because it's not the first time that we've seen it. And it really is kind of disrespectful, I think, to the other players on the team who fought and scratched and tried to remain in that game. And look, Draymond gets a lot of credit for helping to hold this Warriors team up, and I get it. He's frustrated with the way that they're playing and the losing, and the first half tonight was really, frankly, despicably ugly as far as the defense was. I mean, just breakdowns everywhere, miscommunications, a lot of new players and combinations playing together. The Pacers, once they got rolling, were getting whatever the hell they wanted whenever they wanted it. But, it's also, Draymond, hang in there with these guys. At least, be a leader and hang in the game with these guys as they try and fight, even though it's probably going to be the type of a game where you're not going to have enough down the stretch, and ultimately the Warriors didn't. So I think that's a red mark on the report card for tonight for me. The fact that it was only for the fact that it was predictable, and I tweeted it out when Draymond picked up the first technical, like, hey, this is. This is the kind of thing that can happen with Draymond. You know what happens to Draymond once Steph isn't playing, and then he picks up the second technical foul like clockwork, and he ends up hitting the shower. So disappointed in Draymond tonight for basically kind of tapping out and using his anger as a means to call it an early night when the rest of the guys were out there trying to fight back from what was pretty brutal in the first half, even without their MVP and their four-time champion in Steph Curry. So 888-957-9570. Let's go to LJ in Sunnyvale next here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, LJ?
Hey, what's going on? It's first-time caller. Thank you for taking my call, man.
You got it.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, what you got? Yeah, loud and clear. What's on your mind, LJ?
Yeah. I agree with you on the Draymond Green conversation, and the minute Steph went out, Draymond pretty much, I like how you refer to it as rager, but as a classic veteran, it was going to happen. But the other token is like turnover city. It's like, how do you as a staff, day in, day out, what are you telling your guys that if we just eliminated the turnovers, we'd have a stronger chance of being in these games, if not winning them? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, we're like two games back from the fourth seed, and it's just eventually after a while, it's like we got to start winning some road games. And I mean, the media will look at this and say, okay, they have that championship DNA. We shouldn't worry about it, in the future. But at the same token, I like to see results now, and especially if you talk about Draymond kind of leaving this team out there in the dust. Who knows what happens to Draymond next season if this talks of him not being there. It's just kind of one of those things like, what do Warriors do at midway through the year at All-Star or, the trade deadline? I mean, we don't get rid of Draymond, but we got to add more, fire more ammunition to the squad because it just does not look good.
No, it doesn't look good right now, and they're a game under 500, and they can't win on the road. That record gets even uglier now. It came in at 2-12, and they're 2-13 on the road. I mean, that is only the Rockets in the Western Conference are worse than the Warriors on the road. Only the Magic in the Eastern Conference are worse than the Warriors on the road at 1-11. So, I mean, it really is ugly, ugly, ugly stuff, and it really hasn't mattered who the Warriors have played in a lot of these road games. They just have gone through the motions a lot defensively. I mean, they're giving up 123 points a game on the road. And that will get you crushed. And so, that's the tone. And I think, the young players on this team, I'm not putting it on them, because I think the veteran players, and I've said this a lot, have wanted to coast in some of these road games and win some high-scoring affairs. And the Warriors have been able to be in 50-50 games in the final 5-6 minutes of a lot of them and unable to finish. Last night you're playing Milwaukee. That's an L that you're probably just going to have to take on a night where you're getting throttled from 2-point range and you're making threes and you're a little bit shorthanded at the wing spot. And, tonight you can chalk up. Tonight or last night you can chalk up. Tonight, you're hoping that you don't get down 25, at this point. You're hoping that you've got enough to stabilize. And sure, you might be up 12 and you might get down 12 to 15, but then you make another push, as they did in that third quarter, and they played angry in the third quarter. I mean, that was the difference. They came out and played like they were embarrassed in the third quarter. And so that was the difference. They come out like a normal game early. I give Steve Kerr credit for the lineup. I thought DiVincenzo in the starting lineup was great, but it left them really vulnerable, even more vulnerable than they have been lately off the bench. And the bench rotation has changed with Wiggins going out and everybody shuffling around, and now Clay's out tonight. And so this isn't the bench group that had been the successful group as the Warriors had flipped the 3-7 record into a 13-11 record. So at that point, now you're even digging deeper on the bench. And, that group with Steph and the four bench guys just completely flipped the game. And the Warriors were up 10, and then it was a 1-point game. They were down at the half at the end of that quarter after being up, 9? They're down 1. So it was a quick -10 when it was Steph with the bench guys. And then all hell breaks loose in the first 6 minutes of the quarter with Curry out. And by the time Curry's back in the game, the Pacers are rolling at such a high level that you can't stop them until they're up 25. And then right before the half, it felt like the Pacers let off the gas a little bit, and Curry hit a couple of shots, and it was like he was having his will tested a little bit, and he wasn't going to be denied there.
Pull back to
and
Curry.
So, then you wind up down 20 at the half, and you come out and you try to play angry. So 888-957-9570. Let's get to Matt in San Francisco here on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, how's it going? One optimistic note I want to just bring up is I like the way that Curry handles his time in rehab and injury. Like, I remember a couple of years ago when they made it to the play-in tournament, he had that tailbone injury, and it seems like after that injury is when his tear started in the late end of the season. And then last year with the foot thing after Boston's game, it seems like that's when he started rolling going into playoffs. It's almost like a reset, like a mental reset, and he's really good at rehabbing and just getting his mind right again and healthy. And I feel like that's one thing I'm not looking forward to, but I guess something that's good to note. I think that he's going to come out really strong after whatever, tunnel that he's going through right now. And then my last note, a little bit more pessimistic, but they need to trade Jermichael Green. I don't know. I don't like being so pessimistic about that, but I just think we need more depth on the bench. And I think Jermichael Green and like Lamb or something, they just need to be shipped off somewhere and we can get something better. But I don't know who would want him. But thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, at this point, Lamb has been up and down. There are nights where Lamb looks like, okay, yeah, he can make some shots and he's an NBA player and he can help you. There are other nights where he does look like a G leaguer, like he almost can't get a shot off. He's confused defensively, and it's really hit or miss. I mean, he's helped them win a couple of games, but there have been some games where it just doesn't work. And yeah, Jermichael Green, there's really no other way to put it. He's been a disappointment. And I think they thought he was going to be a little more consistent shooting the three ball. I think they thought he was going to be a little better defender, even if he was at the 4 spot. They were playing him at the 4 early. They did him a favor by moving him to the 5 and sort of explained some of his struggles away as he was playing the 5 or wasn't playing the 5 and should have been playing the 5. And then there were a handful of games where he played a little bit better, but over the long haul here, he just hasn't been he just hasn't been great, to this point. So, and almost unplayable. And it does start. And there were a few people on the text line that are saying, well, if JaMychal Green's going to play like this, why not go to James Wiseman? And I'll tell you, it's a question. However, I think it tells you what the organization currently feels and the coaching staff currently feels about Wiseman's ability to help. The fact that Green has played at the level that he has played, and they still believe he's a better option even than Wiseman. And look, they want Wiseman to play, so that's the other part of the equation. They want him to play, and I think that's more than the 5 to 10 minutes. Some shorties for JaMychal Green, but he hasn't played well. I thought he played a little better in the second half tonight, but overall it hadn't worked. They went and got Dante DiVincenzo and JaMychal Green to fill the roster spots held by Gary Payton II and Otto Porter Jr. Different players, different types of players, different skill sets, and really unfair, I think, to compare. I think DiVincenzo in his own right has been he's been impactful in a different way, but he's not somebody that you really want to necessarily be playing a ton of minutes every single night, although he did play 38 tonight with the start and Wiggins and Clay out, and he was a plus 19 and pressures the ball and is a willing passer and can knock down some shots, although he's a little streaky offensively. I mean, I think, but he hasn't made the impact in at the level or in the ways that Gary Payton II did last year, just being a lockdown blanket defender and somebody that would get an easy dunk if left him or hit a high percentage of his three-pointers from the corner if the defense left him there. So different style of players. But, yeah, they have not got anything close to what they had from the Otto Porter slot on the roster. And look, Green was not – I think they thought that some of the young players would be able to play and help in that role. And it just hasn't happened. Siad in San Francisco. Is it Siad? You're on 95.7 The Game.
Oh, sweet. I just have one question for you. If you had to trade one guy right now, who would it be?
That's a good question. Thanks for the call, Siad. At this point, I think you want to trade somebody that has value. And I think that the best course of action, assuming you believe that this team can still get it together and make a run, and the MRI results for Steph tomorrow are not going to necessarily complete it. He's out for a couple months or something. If he tore something in the shoulder and he's out for a couple of months, then that dramatically changes the thought. But if you're assuming this is a relatively short-term injury for Steph and you think that this team can get healthy with Wiggins and Clay back and consistently, and the way things look like they were trending a week ago where it was like, hey, this team can push to win in the mid to upper 40s and maybe be in the top half of what is a real compacted West. If you were telling me that, I would say that James Wiseman would be the guy to move. As far as somebody whose value to the Warriors has cratered, but another team would still potentially want to trade a rotational type player for. And look, we're not talking about a superstar, at this point. And I can understand that's probably why the Warriors wouldn't want to look to move a guy like Wiseman right now, is because at one point you thought, hey, if Wiseman's on the move, you're probably going to get some kind of a star coming back or a young star player that could become a star coming back. And I think right now, if you did look to move Wiseman, you would be looking at probably taking a role player back. And I think that would be a little bit concerning. But I think assuming you feel the rest of the team is good enough to go for it and you need one more player that you can trust, and I think the Warriors are going to need one more player that they can trust that's not currently on the roster to be in this rotation, probably a wing. Wiseman, I think, would be the guy that the Warriors would be more comfortable with or may have to come to grips with being more comfortable with, maybe moving on from. 888-957-9570. Let's sneak in Bob and Marin here before we pause. Bob, you're on Warriors Wrap-Up with John Dickinson on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Diddy, I just got a question for you real quick. I think this has happened to the Warriors before. The Steph goes out and the guys start to play better, and I don't think the Warriors need to trade. I feel like this is the time the guys that need to play better have to play better because Steph's not around and find out what they're made of. And I think with a guy like DiVincenzo, the way he penetrates, the way he pushes the tempo, we need more of that. I think the Warriors need more of that because that kind of, puts a lot of the defense on the back foot. And if you have shooters on the outside, that's where these guys are going to shine. And that's where we're going to see what Jordan Poole and what Klay Thompson are going to be like playing together. So I'm actually, looking forward to what the rotations are going to look like. I just want to see what you think what's going to happen. Hopefully Steph's fine. But I just think this is a great opportunity for Warriors to actually learn what they're actually about.
Yeah, no, look, thanks for the call. The one thing I will say on the surface, if Steph is out for a decent stretch here, this isn't 2019, 2020. This isn't immediately you're 15 and 50 as they were in that pandemic, because you've got Jordan Poole. You didn't have Klay that year. You've got him. You didn't have Wiggins until the back half of that year. So you've got 3 good players on this team that you didn't have that year. The problem, though, is this team as relatively whole had played their way to essentially being a 500 team. So while they may not be a 15 and 50 type team, it's kind of somewhere in between. So we'll ponder that here as we take a quick break. We'll hear from Steve Kerr. We'll hear from Dante DiVincenzo. 888-957-9570. Still time for some phone calls. We'll also reset the latest on Steph Curry as the Warriors lose to the Pacers 125-119. You heard it right here at 95.7 The Game.
Hi there, I'm your host, Dog, filling in for the human who's normally here and bringing you the smells and sounds of the holidays, courtesy of Beggin' Dog Treats.
We wish you a begging Christmas. We wish you a begging Christmas. Dog rest ye merry Doberman, let begging you acquire. Deck the halls with strips of begging. Arf, 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 arf.
Remember, for bacon-loving dog excitement this holiday, it's beggin'!
Let me guess. Unknown caller? You could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection. The latest innovation from Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And we'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
This is it, the putt to win the tournament. If you sink it, the championship is yours. But on your backswing, your hat falls over your eyes. Is this how you're running your business? Poor visibility because you're still relying on spreadsheets and outdated finance software? To see the full picture, you need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth with visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR planning, budgeting, and more. NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. With NetSuite, you can automate your procedures and close your books in no time while staying well ahead of your competition. 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control after upgrading to NetSuite. Over 32,000 businesses already use NetSuite. For the new year, NetSuite has a new financing program for those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/radar. Head to netsuite.com/radar for this special one-of-a-kind financing offer on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. netsuite.com/radar.
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake replacements, oil changes, washes, and so much more. Get $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
What's up, San Francisco? If you're a fan of the team, which I'm sure you are, you've been following Christian McCaffrey light up the competition. This season, Christian will be hydrating himself with Body Armor sports drinks. It has potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. In fact, Body Armor has 820 milligrams of electrolytes per 16-ounce serving. Body Armor is the sports drink of choice for Christian McCaffrey. It's more than a sports drink. It's Body Armor sports drink. Available at your local Safeway.
Have you been naughty or nice this year? Cash don't care.
At Jackson Hewitt, you could still get up to $4,500 for the holidays. Some bucks now, more bucks in January. So be naughty. Snap up all the ginger snaps. Wear a pretty sweater to an ugly sweater holiday party. You could still get up to $4,500 when you go to Jackson Hewitt today. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. Eligible clients can get up to $1,000 in December and up to $3,500 in January. Loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Finance charge may apply.
Here's to Prilosec OTC. Just one pill each morning and no heartburn all day. My holiday hero.
Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
'Twas almost the holidays, and all over the state, not a creature was stirring, except for, well, Nate. He was panicked, in need of a really good gift. Nate's a procrastinator, if you catch my drift. So off he dashed to the closest store, and there found holiday scratchers galore. Now Nate won't get a lump of coal, unless he burns the holiday casserole. Yes, scratchers from the California Lottery are great, especially for Mr. Procrastinate. So when it's time to get your gift shopping out of the way, try scratchers. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase Play or Claim.
Hey, it's Tiki Barber. When part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows. And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love eBay Motors. They have all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. That way, you can get the parts you need to make your car a winner. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
At Target, low prices and great deals mean more. More holiday joy with loved ones, and more to check off your list for less. Flour, sugar, eggs, butter, got 'em. Fresh candles, extra wine glasses, new tablecloth, check. And don't forget the trusty cleanup supplies to wrap up the celebration and all the leftovers too. Deals so good, you can holiday your way. Only at Target.
Looking for a holiday dining experience to remember? Look no further. Alexander Steakhouse is now booking reservations this holiday season. Look forward to handmade pastas at our newest restaurant in San Francisco, Afici. Enjoy your menu favorites at our various locations across the Bay Area, or give the gift of something sweet from Alexander's Patisserie or 165 this holiday season. Alexander Steakhouse is perfect for a special occasion or culinary adventure. Visit our website at alexandersteakhouse.com to book your reservation today.
Thank you to all of the business owners who kept people employed during the pandemic. For all you've done, you may be eligible to claim the Employee Retention Tax Credit, a payroll tax refund from the United States Treasury Department, applicable to businesses who kept employees on payroll during the pandemic. The window is closing to claim your refund. Contact Paychex to see if you qualify. Paychex is proud to have helped more than 45,000 businesses secure over $9.2 billion in ERTC claims, an average of $190,000 per business. 50 years and thousands of experts in HR, payroll, benefits, and insurance. You may be eligible to claim the Employee Retention Tax Credit, a payroll tax refund from the United States Treasury Department, applicable to businesses who kept employees on payroll during the pandemic. The window is closing to claim your refund. Contact Paychex to see if you qualify. Visit paychex.com/ERTC to find out how Paychex can help you get additional cash into your business. Paychex.com/ERTC. Paychex.com/ERTC.
To Halliburton, back to Turner, up over Draymond, forced it up, no good, ball tip. Curry comes back to get it. Chest pass to Poole. It's a beauty. He caught it, just laid it in. Just one step. What a pass by Curry. And all of a sudden, 3 minutes gone by in the second half, and it's a 13-point game.
Now back to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, the Warriors made their run in this one, down by 25 late in the first half, down by 20 at the half. It was 77-54 Indiana early in the third quarter, and the Warriors had trimmed that all the way down to 83-80, and then a 10-0 run for the Pacers to put them back up 93-80, and that's when Steph Curry went down with the left shoulder injury, looking to make a steal on a play, immediately grabbed at the shoulder, immediately went out of the game, did not return, and the latest on Steph is that he will get an MRI tomorrow. We'll hear more details, although there really wasn't much more to share from Steve Kerr coming up here in just a moment. Warriors go on to lose this one 125-119. John Dickinson on Warriors wrap-up here on 95.7 The Game. 888-957-9570. Phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text. And we had the caller before the break. It was Bob and Marin who said, JD, if you were looking to make a trade, who would you look to move? And I've already got people coming down my road for saying James Wiseman, including the 510. And 510 saying, JD, what are you talking about? The Warriors have zero height, and you want to trade the tallest player on the roster. JaMychal Green needs to go. The Warriors need to start playing the younger players. I would move Jordan Poole before Wiseman. Well, here's the deal. You can't move Jordan Poole right now because Jordan Poole makes $4 million, a little under $4 million. And so if you move him before he makes a lot of money, you're only getting players back that make in the range of money that Jordan Poole currently makes. So you basically have to hold off on trading Jordan Poole this season. Well, I did say when Poole signed the extension, though, just because you sign the extension doesn't mean you're going to be a Warrior for life. And I think as they look to decide in the offseason, and it's way too early to speculate, but I do think moving Jordan Poole at some point will be on the table as the Warriors try to shuffle through who's going to get paid and who's not, and where they go young and where they don't, and whether it come May and June of 2023, 5-6 months away now, the Warriors believe they still have the ability to win another championship next year. We don't know. We got to see how this year ends. It's too early to really know at this point. But the reality, as far as not having size and trading the tallest guy and all that, he can't play now. He can't play now. The Warriors have deemed him to be ineffective now, and so he's not helping them now. And they've decided, they flipped their season, in essence, when they decided to quit playing them all together. And I don't think that's necessarily completely the reason why. I think it's one of the reasons why. I wouldn't put it all on that decision. But they believe that he can't play with Steph and he can't play with Draymond effectively. He can't defend. And it's not worth him playing 5 minutes a half at this point. I think they came into the year thinking it was worth him playing 5 minutes a half, anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes a half, some nights, depending upon the night, and they could get away with it, and they could win, and they'd have a decent record, and all of that. And it just hasn't come to fruition. It really hasn't. 888-957-9570. Another one here on the text line from the 240. JD, I often agree with you in your analysis. Tonight you appear to be all over the place. Rats on the table are Kerr and Poole. Why aren't you putting them on blast? Look, Jordan Poole stunk tonight. Like I got no issue. 8 of 22, 1 of 7 from 3, 4 turnovers. He's kicking the ball out of bounds last night. Like I got nothing. I got nothing to say. Like I'll come after Jordan Poole. Like no problem. He was bad. He's got to play better. Whether it's the contract or the punch or not playing as many minutes with as many good players, I don't know what it is, but it's not good. As far as Steve Kerr, I'm not coming down his road necessarily for the young players because I'm not sure they'd be helping him. I'm really not. Now, Moses Moody was an interesting one tonight. I was going back and forth on text with our very own Kyle Madsen tonight. And he said, what did Moody do to get in the doghouse? And I said, well, I'm not really sure. But, and to be honest, I mean, Steve Kerr said he fouls too much, he turns it over too much when he's out there on the floor. That's just what Steve Kerr has said. He's also said that he doesn't play him because he's the fifth guard, and typically you only play 4 guards. Well, tonight they were playing all the guards, and you would think with a guard out, Moody would automatically play. But then Ty Jerome was playing, and Anthony Lamb's a different position if you consider Moody a guard. So Anthony Lamb's a forward, or a big in the Warriors scheme. Sometimes he's a 3 and can shoot from the outside. So I thought it was a little weird that, all right, if you're considering the 5th guard, you got a guard out, he wouldn't step in and play. And then it was almost a last resort sub for Kerr with Moody tonight, and Moody helped them toward the end of the first half, but him help. And this is what you've seen with Kuminga. Like, there's games where Kuminga plays well and he helps, and you say, well, Kuminga should play more, and Kuminga will continue to play, and over time, he doesn't play as well. Like, it's always evolving. It's not just, hey, a young player plays well for 2 games, and then they're good. Then they're in. Then they're going to play the rest of the season 20 minutes a game. You know, we saw this with Kuminga going back 2 or 3 games. Kuminga's got to play 20 minutes a game, and he has been, and he did tonight, I think, but he hasn't played well. If the Warriors had a full deck on a couple of these nights, Kuminga wouldn't have played as much as he did last night. He wouldn't have played as much as he did tonight. He didn't play well in the first half tonight. Played better in the second half when they started him. That was another rotation adjustment that worked for Steve Kerr tonight. He put Moody in the rotation in the second half, helped him. Put Kuminga in the starting lineup when Small took Looney out, helped them. So hat tip to Steve Kerr on that. Couple of adjustments there. But yeah, Poole's got to be better. Like I got no problem saying Jordan Poole's got to be better. I mean, there's no doubt about it. From the 408, Jakob Poeltl would be a great addition. Here's the deal. And I go back and forth on Jakob Poeltl. I'm not sure. You want to give up Wiseman for Jakob Poeltl? You want to give up James Wiseman, the number 2 pick in the draft, for a big that may not even finish games for you and is a free agent at the end of the season? Like, I'm just asking. And maybe the answer is yes. I'm not even, I think Jakob Poeltl could help them, but I also know how the Warriors tend to run it with their bigs, and they like having them out there, but they don't play their bigs as much as other teams play their bigs, and their wild card in beating teams down the stretch in key playoff games is typically going smaller or playing Kevon Looney. And so, or playing Draymond at the fight. Kind of depends on the night, and they played Looney more down the stretch in some of the games last year, but Warriors don't value size in the traditional sense. They just don't. And so, when people say Wiseman's got to play and you need a 7-footer and you need size, I think the Warriors need another wing, to be perfectly honest. I think they are going to roll with Poole for now. They've got DiVincenzo, who they like as guards. You've got Steph and Clay. That's 4 good guards. You kind of cast Moody aside. I think obviously Draymond and Wiggins and Looney you like at that point, and then that's where it gets a little muddy. You want Kuminga to play. Iguodala, who knows if he's going to see any action until the All-Star break, for crying out loud, or maybe till April. That remains to be seen at this point. But I think when you look at it, it's a matter of, with Kuminga, you'd like somebody that's a little more trustable. Like I wouldn't mind, and this is probably not going to happen because I don't think the Suns would want it to happen. And again, who are you going to give up? But I'd love Jay Crowder on this Warriors team as a 3-and-D wing and somebody that can play 20, 25 minutes a game, and somebody, and the people that are pro playing the young players are going to hate this, but somebody that you'd trust every single night more than you would trust Kuminga every single night. So again, if you're looking to do that, and I think, in fairness, Jay Crowder wants to play more than, I think, 20 to 25 minutes a game. I think that's why he's in the situation he's in with Phoenix. But I think the Warriors need another wing. They need another 3-4 type player that they can trust. Kind of the 3-4 version of a DiVincenzo. Just a young vet that they can trust. What do you got to give up to get that? You may have to give up more than James Wiseman at this point to get it if it's a player that's going to be around for any length of time. All right, let's get to Mike in San Jose on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Mike. Oh, we lost Mike. All right, 888-957-9570. Let's go ahead and hear from Steve Kerr then as he addressed the Steph Curry injury and everything going on in this loss for the Warriors in Indiana.
So you start with any update on Steph.
He's going to get an MRI tomorrow. He was ruled out, midway through the 4th. Training staff told me he wasn't going to play the rest of the night, and we'll see how he is tomorrow.
Did they say anything about the level of pain?
No, I didn't ask about that. I mean, I just trust their judgment. And they said he's not going back in, and I haven't really, I just checked in with him briefly, but haven't had a chance to go into detail with him.
It's not like a conversation with Reed, but what were his spirits and things like?
Spirits were good. Steph's always a guy with a great outlook on life, so he's in good spirits, and we'll hope for the best.
What's kind of performance before having to go out?
Just stunning. He just basically put us on his shoulders, for the the minutes he was out there, he was generating so much offense. He was getting to the line. He was, getting the ball to other people. He was absolutely brilliant. And then I thought the guys did a great job of fighting throughout the third quarter before he got hurt, and then after, down the stretch in the fourth. We couldn't get stops, but our guys were battling. I was really proud of the effort. I didn't like the first half at all. It felt like we were feeling sorry for ourselves, and I liked the way our guys competed together in that second half.
The visual kind of halftime, hands on his knees, kind of huffing and puffing, frustrated, but obviously doing well himself, kind of said a lot. What was his message at halftime and yours as well?
He didn't have a message. My message to the group was it's about competing. It's about weathering the storm. This has been a tough start to the season. We're in a tough stretch. Maybe it's going to get tougher if Steph's out for a little while. I mean, if he's out, it'll for sure get tougher. But you just got to persevere. You just keep playing and you keep fighting. And it's a long season. The thing I'm very, very confident about is if we're healthy, we feel like we can beat anybody. I think this team has proven that. And so our job is to get there. We've got to find a way to navigate this season and continue to bring along the young guys. I thought both JK and Moses did a great job tonight. So fun to see them grow. And, we've got to continue to find rotations that make sense as guys are in and out with injury, and just keep fighting. And if we do that, and I feel good about our team long term, even though it may be a rocky ride to get there.
Really rearrange your rotation in the second half. I guess what went into your initial rotation should include Jerome Lynn early and then, wide flip.
Yeah, we needed more space on the floor. We just couldn't get anything going in the first half. I think we had 52 points and down 20. We had to change the feel, the vibe of the game. And so JK gave us a good boost, gave us a little more, of a dive threat to the rim. And then that created some spacing for other guys too. And as I said, I thought the biggest change was not the lineup. It was just our mentality. And I liked the way the guys competed together.
I don't know. I mean, nobody knows who will be available moving forward necessarily, but did Moses do enough tonight that you're going to try to get him on the floor a bit? I'm really pleased with his play. Over the last couple of weeks, he's gotten his opportunities and he's made the most of them. So he's every game is different. What's made this year tricky is that you got different guys out, different combinations, and a lot of new people, and so we're trying to find the right combinations. But Moses has done a great job, and I imagine he'll be out there again, next game. Moses is someone who seems to take a lot of strains, maybe take a little bit of pride in that. Is that a learned skill or something that's more kind of innate? Is that something that's an innate skill or something that kind of is more who you are in general? It's a combination.
It takes some toughness, and then it takes some teaching. You need to learn how to take a charge. You got to have your shoulders squared, and you got to have your feet set, and all that stuff. And he's done a good job of that. He's got a lot of toughness, and he's got good feel for the game. And so that's an area of the game that he definitely is excels in.
Jordan's been struggling a little bit recently, maybe not necessarily the point total when it comes to efficiency. Just haven't been very efficient. Just what have you seen from him over the past week? Biggest thing with Jordan that we've been trying to work on with him is just slow down. He just gets in a rush. He's got so much ability. I think sometimes it's the guys with the most ability when they're young who actually make the most mistakes because they're trying to learn what they can and can't do. And he's so gifted. He's so fast and shifty that he frequently is getting himself into trouble just by being in a rush. So we're trying to slow him down, and it's all going to come with experience. He's still a very young player. And as I said, I was really pleased with his effort in that second half, just competing and making plays and fighting. It wasn't a great shooting night for him, but he kept playing. And that's the most important thing every single night, is to keep playing and just understand that every individual on the team, everybody's energy and body language, it just fuels the rest of the guys. And so we need everybody to bring that juice night in and night out. And you can't let mistakes or results affect you and affect the team. And we got a lot of young guys who are learning that now.
All right, so Steve Kerr there praising the efforts of Moses Moody, who did play well once he got his opportunity. Jonathan Kuminga didn't play well in the first half. I didn't think Kuminga played well last night until mop-up time. I thought he kind of padded his stats a little bit last night when the game was out of hand, but he was a different player in the second half, which I think is a positive sign. When he got the start, he brought energy. The Warriors went more athletic with the three guards, and then Draymond and Kuminga, and Moody was a bigger part of that rotation, and we'll see. How does Steve Kerr get Moody on the floor? I think he's got to try to get Moses Moody on the floor a little bit, especially with this team shorthanded. All right, let's sneak in Joe in the city here on Warriors Wrap Up. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, JD, how you doing, man?
Good, man. What's on your mind?
Good. Hey, so, I think it's really clear that Steph has another 2-3 years of championship basketball and being, if not the best player in the NBA. And I think the challenge with some of these young guys, and Kerr, you talk about trust, like, what do you know that they're going to do and provide on a night in and night out basis? And someone like Poole, he's in the rotation because there's a level of trust there. You know exactly what role he plays and what you're going to get. Looking at Warriors championship rosters of the past, I completely agree with your take on a big guard, a 3-4, more than a 5. Someone who can offer rim protection and good defense without being a big body. And I don't see, if you're the Warriors, why you wouldn't trade any one of these three young guys for someone that you think's a better piece. I know I'm getting on time here. Not go Lakers, but last thing is people talk about Wiseman as a missed pick. I think Kuminga, like someone like Davion Mitchell, I really like his game and think he'd fit that GP2 role. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, appreciate it. And yeah, he maybe could. I think he's a little more DiVincenzo-like, I think, than even Gary Payton II. Sturdier guard, can guard bigger players as well, but more of a primary. He's basically the backup point guard for Sacramento there, and so that I think falls in line with the DiVincenzo role, defensive oriented, keeps the ball moving and the like. But I think that's the conundrum the Warriors find themselves in as they move forward here. How do they get? Are they good enough to where they think they can win another title? And if they feel they're one piece away, do you move one piece of the young core to get one piece that can maybe help you win a title again, a little bit more trustworthy player that can be a rotation player and solidify that top 8 and give you a little margin for error if you lose somebody over a length of time. So we'll hold our breath. We'll see what happens with Steph Curry. MRI tomorrow on the left shoulder. And I think you got to hope it's just a sprain or some kind of muscle injury to where, you're hoping the worst case scenario is maybe he's got to miss a couple of games and he can get back here within the next week. But we'll find out more on that tomorrow. All right, that's going to do it for me. I want to thank Sterling Bennett and everybody in our San Francisco studios. A great job cutting the highlights and everything tonight. I'll be back with you on Friday as the Warriors take on the Sixers. Post-game after that one, we'll have Warriors wrap up as I'm headed to the airport, heading to Seattle. Niners and the Seahawks tomorrow. Going to be covering that. So we'll talk to you tomorrow from Seattle and talk to you Friday on Warriors wrap up as the Pacers get the better of the Warriors, 125-119. And you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game. Good night.
Someday, you might be with friends in the Bay Area, telling the story of how you navigated these complex times. The market was all over the place, so you reached out to a Merrill advisor, and with their help, charged ahead. And unlike your fishing stories, you won't have to go overboard. Find an advisor at ml.com/bullish.
Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do?
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Bank of America Corp.
AT&T Fiber presents a straightforward moment inspired by straightforward pricing.
And now we just cube the pancetta as such.
So what's on the menu tonight?